Okay, so
Okay. Hello, friend. My name is Nijat. I'm leader of DCG Baku Engineering University. So today we're gonna talk about Android programming. And first of all, I would like to give the floor to Sveta, who will tell us about Android programming. Hello, Sveta.
hi Niket, how are you?
Fine. You.
Okay, so let's start with the introduction of mine. And hello everyone, my name is Shweta Patel, and welcome to Android Study. Uh, for the prior programming experience track, this track is for people who already have prior programming experience but who are new to building the Android apps. And if you are new in programming and Android, consider the new programming track. The content will be introduced, a slower piece, and a programming fundamentals will be explained along the way. So everyone has a common question that why we learn Kotlin. So
Can you open your camera, Sveta?
yes, sure. Camera, give me a moment.
Start camera.
Uh,
And okay, no problem.
okay. Uh, so let's back to the presentation. Yes. Basically, Kotlin is a modern statistically
Can
typed.
can you show presentation? We can't see a presentation, Sveta, right
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
Screen. Mm-hmm. Again. Share presentation. Okay. Add
Okay.
stream. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, are
Okay.
you able to show the presentation?
Yes, yes. We can see right now.
Okay. Why we study Kotlin? Kotlin is basically a modern programming language, which is statically typed programming language that feature both object-oriented and functional programming. In our programming, there are two kind of programmings. One is object-oriented, and another one is functional programming. And Kotlin is target several platforms, including the JVM, and Kotlin is fully interportable with the Java and make mobile development faster than the others. Uh, so whenever you are start doing programming, we need one thing is that we need some prerequisites. There are prerequisites. So first of all, you have some programming experience with OOPS, or you need just basic C language, so you can easily learn Kotlin, and a computer and also an internet connection for the C. And here are and So now we are going to discuss about concept and overview of Kotlin. So what is Kotlin? Kotlin is a modern programming language that helps developer to be more productive. Later on, we will learn that how it is more productive. Uh, there are certain benefits of doing Kotlin, and these are uh, expressive and constant, safer code, interportable with Java, and another one is structured concurrency. So, the Kotlin language is expressive and conscious, allowing you to express your ideas with lesser code. This reduces the amount of boilerplate code in your project. Later on, we will discuss on the code. At that time, you know that it reducing so many code. So basically, it make the development faster. Kotlin help you to write safer code with features that help you to minimize common programming errors like null pointer exception. Kotlin has one more benefit is that null safety. So by using this benefit, you can avoid null pointer exceptions. So it creates lesser exceptions than the others. And Kotlin is 100% interportable with Java, which means you can call Java-based code from Kotlin and Kotlin-based code from Java, vice versa. Even though you can convert your Java code into Kotlin, Android Studio is providing one more feature is that you can convert your Java code into Kotlin, as well as if you are copy and pasting the code, then if your code is in Java and you are trying to paste it in your Android code, it will ask you to convert this code into Kotlin, and if you press yes, and it will directly convert your Java code into the Kotlin. So there is no worry if if you have certain code in Java and you want to use it in the Kotlin. So that is more easier. Another benefit is uh, Kotlin offers a structured concurrency with Kotlin coroutines. Is simply background task management for everywhere, everything from network calls, accessing local data, which are common for mobile apps. And next one, Android development is Kotlin first. So how how does it is related to Java and Kotlin? So let me tell you one thing is that uh, in 2017, Google announced that Kotlin would be another official supported language on Android. And then in 2019, Google announced that Android development would become increasingly Kotlin first, so that the new tool and libraries will be first to be made available in the Kotlin. So future, their commitment, Google and JetBrains formed the Kotlin Foundation to protect, promote, and advance the Kotlin language. So currently, it is around 70 in thousand. 70% of the Android apps are building in Kotlin, and 60% and Android developer and Android professionals are moving in Kotlin language. So it is just announced in 2017, and currently in 2021, 60% of professionals. So it is more popular and faster growing uh, in current scenario. That is why everyone love the Kotlin. So next, we derive in the code structure. What does this code do? Is everything who can unmute their microphone and okay, not an issue. Uh, what this code do? If you little bit think about it, then you know that this code will print hello world. And yes, that is what you notice about this code. So the first thing you notice about this code is function is declared with the fun keyword. Another one is that Kotlin program needs a main function. A main function to run, Kotlin uses curly braces and or inside curly braces you can write your code. Or the main thing, semicolons are not required in Kotlin. So every time you don't remember to put semicolon after the statement. And yes, one more thing is that println is used to print the string. If after a new people, especially every Kotlin programmer require a main function, a function is declared by the fun keyword. So that is how a common function can be declared. And now let's talk about parameters and return type. So in Kotlin, there are generally we write in code that first of all we declare type of the parameter, and after that we write name of the parameter. But in Kotlin, there are reverse thing. First of all, we write the parameter name. After that, we put colon, then write the type of parameter. Same way, after colon, we are defining return type of the function. So in this case, it will, and if we want to and returning by type return keyword. So in this case, uh, this is the structure whenever I wants to pass any parameter, and after colon we will write return type of the function. Okay, and the another one is that if I don't, if my function doesn't have any return type, that time I can define it by using unit keyword. So unit keyword is totally optional. No, if you don't want to add this, that is totally fine. Unit keyword is totally optional. And this is the function that doesn't have any input parameter. So it will just print a string which is welcome. And the next one is, there are two types of variables in Kotlin. One is mutable variable and another one is immutable variable. So what they do, as the name suggests, mutable variable, if I am declaring any variable and whenever there is requirement that I need to update it multiple times, or we can in future I need there is requirement that I need to change the value of variable, that time we will use mutable variable. And in immutable variable, which is in persist, that means the value of the variable will never change, or it will never assign. I can't reassign the immutable variable. So here is one question also, that when I'm going to practicing this code, so there is one thing which is Kotlin playground. And this playground, I can practice my code, or I can run this stuff over here. So uh, let's see that how mutable and immutable variables are work. So here I'm declaring one variable, which is var a is equals to 3, val b is equals to 4. And let's print the variable a and b. A dollar. println value of b, yes, and run the code. Okay, now it will print value of a is 3 and value of b is 4. Now let's reassign the variable b is equals to a and run. Val cannot be reassigned. So, uh, because the val variable, the val keyword is immutable. So, here how can work mutable and immutable variable, var and val. Next. Now let's see what is interesting thing about the variable declaration. So in this case, there is also a valid way to declare variables in Kotlin. So what we notice about this code, no data type is specified over here. We didn't need to specify that length in the integer or that message is a string. Kotlin support type interface. So which means that you can omit the type and declare variables without specifying that the thing about the variable declaration in Kotlin. Now let's move to the next. So this is about the if-else statements. Uh, Instead of doing such more conditions and putting lots of else-if statements, we can just using when, and there we pass the condition or the IDs over there, and we can run the code over here. The thing is about that when is also replacing the ternary operators and also replacing this switch statement over here. So instead of using switch statement, we can use simply when, and also it will also replace the if else statement. So here are this one is the also powerful feature of the Kotlin. Control flow statement in Kotlin may look similar to what you've seen in other languages with some difference. You can write if else statement as shown here. If the condition within the parenthesis is true, then that branch will be executed. If not, of the conditions are met, they will fall into the else block. You can also use when keyword for conditional similar to switch statement in Java. In this example, x is equals to 0, either equals to 0, either equals to 1, or either equals to 2. Or and whatever is the true over there, the function will be executed over there. Either endgames, if x is equals to 1, then it will execute move next. If x is equals to 2, then skip turn. Yeah. So let's start about classes. What we observe here is that there is one class named Square, and after that we are creating object of the Square class, and what we are printing there that s dot slide. Kotlin support both function object-oriented programming style for OOPS. You can create classes and object instance as shown here. Within a single line of code, we can define a class called Square, and it has one property that side. Then the initiate a Square object instance with the length of 10 and store it in a variable called s. Looking at this code, what does the line s dot side print? So here, what we are going to print over here, that s dot side. That means it will print 10. Now let's talk about the constructor. Well, constructor declaration is also easier than the other. There are two types of constructor. One is primary constructor and another one is parameterized, or we can say that secondary constructor. The Kotlin standard library also offers a lot of functionality to help to manage and maintain collection items easily. You can create many things over here. So what you are going to see over here, I am declaring a class named person, and there I am passing two parameters. One is first name and another one is age. So inside class and inside curly braces, we are going to write our class body. So about that class, no need to define the constructor. After the class name, these two parameters are considered as a primary constructor. Or let's talk about secondary constructor. If I have multiple constructor, not a single, then I can also write this by using constructor keyword and just passing parameter inside the constructor braces. In a Kotlin class can also contain one or more secondary constructor. They are created using constructor keyword. So these two types are in constructor. One is the primary constructor and another one is secondary constructor. This is really interesting. That one is Kotlin null safety. A variable of type string cannot hold null because there we are not using any question mark after this string over here. So I'm just declaring it as one colon string is equals to hello. And if I am declaring s1 is equals to null, it will give me a compiler error because there are because I am not defining string that it can hold a null value. So whenever I want that any variable which is allowing null, then I need to write just question mark after the string. As you can see in second part of code, to allow variable to hold null, we can declare a variable as a null and able to string return string then question mark. If you are using integer, then write int and after that put question mark over here. In that case, if I am assigning s2, that will because there I am writing one question mark and the value can be null or there. So Kotlin it will understand that the question mark represent that the value can have null value. So that is how a null safety will work in Kotlin. And also about the collections. In Kotlin standard library offers a lot of functionality to help you to manage and manipulate the collection of item easily. You can create list, set, and maps. For example, in just I am creating a list and defining the value and writing that list of 1, 2, and 3. And we are also creating a set and writing that set of 4, 5, and 6. And if I want to create a map which have key and value pair, so in that case I need to write A to 10, B to 20, and B to 30. So that is how collection work. So as I have already told you that if you want to practice your code, then it can be when you are click on play button, uh, you can easily practice your code in Kotlin playground. And if you are interested to build an Android application, so there are some prerequisites for creating a mobile application programming experience in OPS language. So, comfortable with using an IDE, familiar with navigating in GitHub, a computer internet connection, and USB cable and Android device. The two are totally optional. Uh, as of now, Android Studio is also providing us some inbuilt emulator, so we can easily run our code in the emulator. So device is totally optional, and USB cable also. So about Android Studio, there are some part that we need to understand about the uh, Android Studio before we are creating Android application in Android Studio. So there are one window over here which is showing us uh, the my project structure. And one more thing is that whenever we are designing and we are doing designs in the Android application, that time the code structure will be in XML. So that is also in .xml file. So all the my design part will are in .xml file. And there are one more thing is that activity. One is XML file, there we are going to do our design, and another one is activity. There we will write our code. There we will bind up the things, like if I want to bind my coding structure, or we can say that my functionalities and my view, that time we will use activity. So activity will represent my design, or we can say that my UI. So about Android emulator. So I have already told you that after you are installing the Android Studio on your computer, you will create uh, an app, and you will learn to run the app in the emulator, which emulate the Android device on your computer. The emulator allows you to test your app on the variety of devices and version of the Android platform. So if you don't have any Android device, not to worry about that. You can directly run your app inside Android emulator. And so now we have Android Studio and we have emulator also. Uh, then how I'm going to uh, do the job. So let's do next thing, that is layout. So about layout is basically a thing, uh, whatever I am designing. So there are two things, which one is uh, view and groups. So what is view and view group in this case? So view, we can say that a single controller. So we can say it a view, just like text view, button, image view. Those are a simple view. And what are view groups? So view groups is just like a container, or we can say that a container controllers, that is a frame layout, linear layout, and constraint layout. So these three layouts are layout if I have something, just like we have one container and I am putting multiple things inside that. So view groups, collection of view, we can put collection of view inside a view group. So this is how the view and view groups are actually work. And so there are multiple views Android, provided by Android, and these are uh, like text view, image view, buttons, and moreover list view. There are so many layouts that are provided by the Android. And let's talk about what kind of things I need whenever I am developing a project or developing an application. So there are four things that I need. One is activity, as we discussed before, that activity is one thing that is representing the UI. Or I can write multiple things, or I can write all my stuff inside activity. Uh, what Whatever the functionalities I want to perform on click of button, on click of image, on whenever any image is presenting, so or any kind of service call, network call, all these things are done inside the activity. And about the resources, resources are also main things. resource Resources are multiple things that is containing my layout files, uh, as we discussed that XML files, and my customized resources, images uh, that I'm using in my applications, strings, uh, whatever kind of strings that are I'm adding in my application, that will be separated in string file, multiple themes, style of the button, style of the application, style of the activity. These things are included in resources. One more thing is Android manifest. Android manifest file. Now for the basic introduction, uh, all the activities will be defined in the Android manifest. Android manifest will decide that which activity is going to launch first. So all the things I can add it inside the Android manifest file. And now about the Gradle file. All the libraries will be declared inside the Gradle file. Uh, my application, which versions will be supported in my application, that will under the Gradle file. Things like minimum and maximum level of support. Uh, this basic things will be included inside the Gradle file. So now these are some websites. From there you can learn more about the Kotlin, more about the Android development also. And there are official blogs, and there are also multiple things that you can learn from there. So uh, do you have any question before we move to the next?
Question? Mm.
Hello. 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 Now you're able to hear me? Okay. So, sorry for inconvenience. There are some internet issues. Yes, you have one question is that how is Kotlin interportable with the Java? So, about interportable, uh, uh, there is one thing that you can convert Kotlin code, Java code into the Kotlin and Kotlin code into the Java. That's how it is interportable. And Kotlin is also using JVM as the Java used. So that is how the Kotlin is interportable with the Java. So, what is about disadvantage of the Kotlin? So, about disadvantage of the Kotlin. So if you are really comfortable with the Java development, so there are some time take that to move into the Kotlin. So that is the more disadvantage. I am already developing my application before 3 years. I'm developing my application in the Java. So suddenly move to the Kotlin. So that one is quite difficult to get the syntax and to come out from the traditional development. So that is one more. So that is one we are considered that it as disadvantage of Kotlin. And let me share you one my experience over here. That is whenever I am starting developing the Kotlin, that time what I'm facing that time that I developed one application. I just start creating the application over there, and after developing one file, I feel that this is really hard. So just starting developing in my normal Java code, and after that I create one stuff that some files are in Kotlin and some files are in Java, but that is not that is one we can consider as advantage of Kotlin, that I can also use Java file into the Kotlin. I can also use Java libraries while I'm developing in Kotlin. So about interportability, yes, I can use Java libraries into the Kotlin. So that one is advantage, and one disadvantage is whenever I am start developing the Kotlin. So that time it's little bit difficult if you are already developing your application in Java. So now let's move to create a project or one application. So here I can select multiple applications. So Android development is more easier. Here there are some templates of the activity, so I can directly select the template of the activity. Login activity, scrolling, settings, navigation drawer, Google AdMob. Or currently we are starting our application with selecting empty activity and then press next. And here I'm able to give my application name. So demo. Then okay, so here I'm going to select my package name, my location, and yes, if I want to develop my application in Java, I can select Java from here. And if I want to, or I can select Kotlin. So currently we are going with the Kotlin. Java is no more for actually currently we are doing we are going with the Kotlin, so select Kotlin, and here I can set minimum SDK. So there are too many versions of the Android. So currently we are taking 5.5 Lollipop version. And yes, they're also showing us that your app will run on approximately 94.1 of the devices. So we know that how many devices we or how many percentage of devices we can support if I'm selecting minimum version. And let's press on finish. So we are good to go now for development. Okay. So these are the project structure of the Android. Inside demo, there are certain folders that ideal, app, Gradle, and app, Java. Yes. Here is the activity and about Android manifest. Yes, this one is the Android manifest file. Uh, Here I'm able to add my main activity that is declared as a launcher activity. And if I'm creating multiple activities, the rest will be added in my manifest file. About resources, there are a list of folders over here, and the folders are drawable. We will put our image files inside the drawable folders. Layout, this folder will contain my layout files, and after that values, that is contain list of colors, list of strings, list of themes. I can also add my customized theme in this file. So let's start with the basic program. I can also split my screen over here. So this one, constraint layout is a container layout. So I'm going to add my all these stuff or here. I can add button. I can set height of the button and width of the button. Currently I'm setting it wrap content. And one more thing is, let me show you one. Developed application. So in this application, I have two activities. Activities also have their life cycles. Whenever my application is start, stop, destroy, these are overrides method in the Android app. So if I want to perform any task on start, on stop, on resume of the activity, that time I can add these things. Okay. Let's add some stuff here. Button. Already added button. An image view with 100 by 100 height. Closing it. After that, add or I can add text view. Text view is controller. Whenever I wants to add any text information, that time we will use one text controller. So here I can add text, that is hello world. Now let's see what happened. So from this run button, you can run your app into your device. So I just pressing run button. Okay. I want to learn programming in Kotlin. Should I learn Java first? No, well, that is not required as of now. So if you can directly learn the Kotlin. That is not required to learn Java.
Guys, we have some technical problems. Please wait right now. Sveta, try to join live and answer your question. And
So here I have already developed one application with one button and two activities over here. So basically, one activity have a life cycle. That one is the life cycle of activity. Uh, uh, Whenever I am displaying any kind of things or I am preparing any activity over there, there should be one life cycle that must be followed over here. There are certain methods of the activity life cycle. That one is on create, on start, on resume, on pause, on stop, and on destroy. So whenever I am yes, there are one more thing that should need to follow. One This one is button. I need to declare my XML controller inside my activity. And how can I access this controller uh, in my activity? That one thing is find view by ID. And yes, one more thing is here. By using this line, set content to view, that will allow me to access controller from the layout. So that is how I am able to access all the controllers from the layout. So here I can uh, declare my layout. My control is there. Name of the button will be B. the controller name is button, and this is how I'm going to access this controller. That method is findViewById. This is default method of the Kotlin or of the Android. So there is no need to create any extra code for findViewMyId. This is default method, or we can say the system method. Okay, and how can I set listener on it? Uh, this is normal flow that I have one button and I'm clicking on it. There should be a listener who is going to listen my click. So for that we set on click listener. So this will help me to identify or to listen my click if I am pressing on the button. So, and on the button I am starting another activity. This is activity B. So by using this, I can open the activity B. So let's see on my screen. Let's need to reconnect it over here. Let me connect my phone over here. Just wait for a minute. Okay. There is some issue in my screen sharing. So here I'm done with my end. Do you have any question? If you guys have any kind of question over here, you can ask me. Yes, I'm finished from my end. If you guys have any kind of question regarding Kotlin, so you can ask me.
So thank you for everything, Sveta. Thank you for coming to teach something about Kotlin. That's all.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.